So there was a review in an Edmonton journal from 1980 that I think perfectly describes the essence of a Sharon, Lois Bram concert.
Happy to hear a review.
It's a good one too. It says, there is really no other way to put it. You just don't attend one of Sharon, Lois Bram's concerts. You help give it. And what you give, they return tenfold in an hour of joyous, spontaneous fun. They give a high energy performance that is at the same time polished and enthusiastic. The key to their approach is not just a dedication to creating a great experiences for kids, but also a freshness of style and arrangement. Their concert is well-paced and action-packed. Almost all the songs have actions to go with them, and Sharon, Lois Bram use this effectively to make the audience more than a passive part of the concert. But the ingredient that really counts in all of this is the obvious love and care they take, both in choosing the songs and performing them. They clearly enjoy what they are doing, and that is reflected in how they relate to their audience. They want to tear down walls and build rapport, and they certainly do that. They may be billed as children's entertainers, but they are a group the whole family can enjoy. That was from Leslie Francis of the Edmonton Journal.
I don't remember reading that, and I think it's bang
perfect.
on and it's lovely.
Perfect.
And so with that, we thought if you could share a little bit about what it was like to plan for a Sharon, Lois Bram concert and or a tour, and just kind of all of the pieces that went from picking the songs to getting it out and getting on the road.
Well, first of all, there's 60 songs to choose from. And we had to kind of say, no, let's do that one. No, let's do that one. Yeah, okay, we'll do that one.
Generally, when we toured, the touring was a reflection of the recording that we recently had made. Not every song that you record is appropriate to do on stage, which doesn't mean that they're not appropriate to the recording. So we had to choose which would be good, energetic songs to use in performance, and who was featured in the song and how the backup would work. And once we came up with the list, then we had to get together with whoever was helping us put the show together and work out the order of the show and the musicianship and our movements around the stage. Early in the day we just stood in front of our microphone and sang the songs, but eventually started moving around, even you.
Even me, but we did choreography. So you'd move over here and I'd move over there and Lois would move there. And this was in the days of wired
Yes.
microphones.
We got so tangled up.
And we used to have to do mic wired choreography so that we didn't end up with a great knot like that in the middle. And especially when we do things like move over.
Right.
Like that.
Move over and make room for it. And we were all using, as he said, wired mics and sitting on one stool. By the time we all three got onto the stool, there was microphone cords everywhere. The thing is, we laughed about that kind of stuff. We weren't embarrassed by that sort of thing. We laughed about it, and the audience felt in on the joke, which I think was good.
Well, I took for granted until I was trying to help the importance of sequencing a show. So you have to have some old favorites in there. You have to give the audience what they want before you introduce something new. And then you have to have gentle, quiet moments in the show. And you can't have like two crazy moments in a row. You're trying to build to a conclusion with all of these other elements.
Right.
And I just took it for granted when I would watch you guys perform live. And then when I was trying to help you with it later, I realized how challenging it is to figure it out.
Right. It is.
It's easier with two to balance.
Right.
I mean, with three, you had to make sure everyone had intros and that everyone was singing lead and all of that stuff. So, yeah.
I think that's one of the things that makes this live album so interesting is the order. You know, it opens with Rig a Jig Jig, which is such a high energy song, and then it kind of goes down for a moment when Sharon has her solo. And it's just, I think the flow of this show is really special. So when it came to opening the show with a song like Rig a Jig Jig, was there ever a conversation about this is definitely the song we have to open the show?
And away we go.
Yeah.
We always looked for something that had that kind of energy to start the show.
And also, I love the fact that whoever chose that for the beginning, chose a jig. I love
Mm-hmm.
the jig rhythm.
Right.
And
And there aren't so many songs like that, so it's nice
Yeah.
to have that in there.
And I think it's ingrained in our minds as children who went to see you when we were young, seeing you skip out on stage with that kind of an energy, it just sets the scene for the entire performance, and it gets every child on their feet and ready to experience your show.
Which is what we really wanted. We wanted everyone on their feet. We
Mhm.
wanted that kind of energy. We wanted the parents right there with the kids, and mostly they were.
Yeah.
Roy, do you remember the opening of the first concert you saw?
Oh gosh, I remember, so I didn't know how to read at the time, so I was, I think, 5 years old, and there were big poster boards with your caricatures on it and your names, and I was sitting on my mom's lap, and she actually covered my ears when the announcement happened, so that when you guys walked out, and I actually do think it was Rigadig Jig, when you walked out, I lost my mind. So I had no idea who I was seeing, I had no idea what I was going to, and when you walked into our theater, the merch table was right in front of you, so I remember being diverted right into the theater. I didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, and like she wouldn't let me talk to anybody, so I knew literally nothing.
What
And
a
then
lot
it was
of effort
amazing.
your mother went
Oh,
through
yeah.
to make it a
Amazing.
special treat. It's so lovely. We had, we used She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain as an opener. We've used it probably more than any other song over
Yeah.
the years. Because it has the energy, it's familiar to people, and it engages the audience instantly. We really wanted the audience, we didn't want to start with something where the audience didn't sing, where they were listening. We wanted them into it right away, and I think we were pretty good.
Yeah.
But we spent a lot of time on sequencing. When you talk about sequencing on this album, when we used to sequence our albums, I mean, we spent days working on, and boards with
That's right.
names of songs and moving them around. And the producer was deeply involved in all of that. It was for many years it was Paul Mills.
Right, and even the length of time of silence between the
Yeah,
songs.
yeah.
Sometimes they were like that, and sometimes they were like that, because you had to let the song ring off.
And the cool thing about Sharon, Lois, and Bram has always been those little song connectors, like Monday Night the Banjo,
Right.
or Short, Long, and Beard. Those little moments are so fun and exciting, and I'm so glad they're included on this album.
I think the other thing that makes a Sharon, Lois and Bram concert interesting is it's not just a concert for singing, but you do talk with the audience. You tell jokes and short stories, and of which some of that's on this album. But I think that was such an interesting aspect for me also growing up as a kid. Was it wasn't just music, there was also like a listening aspect to it of,
For
okay,
sure.
we're not just here to sing and listen, but like that article said, totally be a part of the whole experience. And I think that was something incredibly special about a Sharon, Lois and Bram concert.
And the thing, something that we learned over the years is that parents sometimes have expectations of how their kids are going to respond, and they may be wrong. And it's not wrong. The parents think, why isn't he singing along, or why isn't he doing the actions? Children receive and absorb each in their own way, and that's the right way for that child at that time. And probably something is going to emerge next day or later in the day, but parents are so anxious for them to participate, they forget to let them just get it the way they get it. And we learned that over time.
That reminds me of, in the summertime, we were doing a concert and we were doing Jelly Jelly in My Belly. And a kid in the audience says, meatball sandwich. And the first time it was and he was probably the second kid. So the first time it was, what? Meatball sandwich. And then the next time it was meatball sandwich. And by the end he was going, meatball sandwich! And everybody in the crowd was cheering
Doing it that
on.
way, too.
Yes, meatball sandwich!
Those moments that you don't plan for
Yeah.
are great. I remember, just speaking for myself, when we were rehearsing, when you can't make a turtle come out,
Right.
just for the heck of it. I don't know why. The one verse that fell to me, we decided Bram's going to sing that verse. I did it imitating Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
In the rehearsal. And I said, no, I'm going to do it straight when
we
we
do
get
it.
to record it. I said, no, you're keeping that one.
Can you do it now?
And when you forget that he's there, be walking around with his head in the air, like that.
You got it, Brad.
Yeah.
You still got it. Bob?
Come out, come out.
That's
I will say too, obviously Sharon, Lois Bram carry the show, but then to be able to listen to the monster musicians that you have on this recording.
What a treat.
I'm so
Oh my
blown away
goodness.
by the sound of the band.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a long time. And to hear them on this recording, holy moly, I can't believe it. They sound fabulous, fabulous.
And we give them holes to play in.
Yeah.
Play in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Let
mean,
them do their
Yeah.
thing.
we really appreciate them. They're
I think they really had fun. I mean, I would hang out with them after concerts and stuff like that. And to be able to, you know, mostly when you tour, it's nighttime concerts and then you're traveling over the night to the next place. It's hard. So be able to do a daytime show, have a nice meal, sleep in a bed, and be able to play fun music.
I think
they had a
that's,
really good time.
I remember this from television as well, that the crew, they're grips and they work on shows that are serious shows. And then they worked on the Elephant Show or Skinnamarink TV, and they feel proud to be part of something that's decent and that's fun and that's doing good for families. I think, and same on the road. I think they were happy to be part of that.
How often do you hear 30-second notes during Meetsy Meetsy Spider from a pianist? It's not a thing. So it's outrageous. Like, your mind will be blown by this album. It's amazing.
You're so
It really is.
technical.
You have to be. You have to be.
He's only so musical.
I thought going to the zoo was really fun in that regard. The real jazzy and the keyboard on that was really rocking, and I mean just the instruments that you guys chose to take on the road with you, you know, to have a saxophone and a flute and you know, a fiddle, and that it was really a banjo. Well, I
Well,
love
every-
the banjo.
Every band's got to have a band show.
There's so many styles of music. I mean, listening to it, obviously I'm a huge country music fan, and there's so much country influence in your music. There's pop, there's rock, there's everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's really incredible to introduce to young children, because then they can take that influence and find their own
Place.
Place.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
works for them,
Yeah,
exactly.
they said, oh,
Or
I've heard that before.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
From them.
right.
Well, Josh Lovelace from Need to Breathe said that he was introduced to a whole array of musical genres listening to your
Oh,
music, that
that's
he
lovely.
didn't have to go out and buy a bunch of different artists. He could listen to country, he could listen to folk and rock and pop,
Exactly.
and that they
That
were
was a
all,
goal.
yeah,
That was a goal of ours. We thought,
flamenco.
I mean, children develop taste by being exposed to a variety of music, and they figure what works for them.
It's
Well, I
the musical world in a box.
Yeah.
I think it's very true, because I would go through your records, pick the songs I liked, and go find who originally sang them. And then I would go and find that artist, and that's how I found that I really enjoyed listening to Ella Fitzgerald, because you sang a Tisket a Tasket on one of your albums or whatnot. And so I think that has gone through so many generations of kids that have found who they like, in addition to Sharon, Lois Bram, through your catalog, and that's something
That's
incredibly
lovely.
special.
I've never
because
thought of that.
I would have never thought that I would have liked that genre of music, but it's all because of Sharon, Lois Bram.
Wow.
That's so nice.
Was
to hear.
Ella Fitzgerald also out there?
Ella Fitzgerald.
Bram met Ella Fitzgerald.
That was pretty
I
exciting.
did. We had a very
Brief.
short conversation, but it was deeply satisfying.
We were talking about going to the zoo, and I don't want to give it away without somebody listening to it, but there's a piece in Going to the Zoo where they take you to a different place. And when I heard it for the first time, it was like seeing that concert for the first time again, lost my mind, because the arrangements and the mashups, and you really do get every part of a Sharon, Lois Bram concert in this album. So what is that like?
Well,
for
when you
guys?
say take you to a certain place, I mean, we give the band holes to just be the band, and we never know what they're going to do.
Well, that's sometimes true.
Yeah, we never know what they're going to do.
But
and-
what Roy's talking about is an arrangement choice,
yeah.
where we went to another song.
Yeah.
Oh, we went to another song.
But I mean, just to think about
I didn't
how
remember
did
that.
those two songs fit, and then you make them fit, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, and then you come back.
Yeah.
What?
I love that actually.
What?
I love that too. Those are my favorite moments on the
Yeah.
album.
And that also, you know, when you're talking about introducing new repertoire because you're touring an album, you still found a way to include and share the tunes that the audience were really attached to, like One Elephant, like Five Little Monkeys,
Yeah, we scarcely ever leave any of those out.
and ending with Skinnamarink.
Always.
Yeah.
That's engraved in stone. We'll never finish anything without Skinnamarink. And it was was a luck, just a piece of luck to learn that song and to discover that it was definitely a closer forever. It's a wonderful message to end a show with.
I know Grant counted concerts.
Yes.
Chris and I recently were trying to count how many times you guys sang Skinnamarink,
I can't
because
imagine.
I feel like there should be a record in there
Yeah.
somewhere, like
Yeah,
a
there
Guinness
must be.
record in there.
We lost count at 3,619,000.
Well,
Well, you know
as Carl Sagan would say, millions and millions.
Well, there, I mean, Skinnamarink from the Elephant Show has been watched like 18 or 20 million times. So,
Wow.
plus all your concerts, plus every wedding and every interview and camp visit and
Hospital visits.
all of these other
Always
places, because
Skinnamarink.
it's always in
always
there.
there.
Well, it's interesting when someone's interviewing us and asks us to do some music, they always ask
For
for
Skinnamarink.
the same song.
Yeah.
And it's funny,
Unfailingly.
and they've also just been playing the live video of it in a TV interview. But then when you're singing it to them personally, the interviewers get emotional. It's
Yeah.
like, it's really interesting to me. I'm like, you got it right up there on the screen, and it's the sort of polished one.
Right. And then
And
there's
here's
us.
this informal
relaxed,
a
informal.
cappella
Right.
one singing to them, and people are like wiping tears away and oh, thank you so much.
Oh, I
And-
think it's all about happy childhood memories, and there's nothing better than that.
I think that those happy memories were because of Sharon, Lois, and Bram,
thank
and
you.
having grown up on all of you and listening to that song and all of the songs, it just sparks that special happy memory that everyone holds on to, and that song is associated with that.
That's lovely.
That was also captured in a live concert, and I think one of the things I've enjoyed most about listening to this album, while I don't necessarily remember sitting in a concert hall and every song that you guys sang, this to me transports me right back to the State Theater in Easton, PA as a little kid, sitting there listening to it and kind of recreating those memories and finding a new happy place through this album, which is just,
Wow.
there's no words to describe that, but
That's
it's
lovely.
very special.
I have to agree, and I always think about December 3rd, 1988, because that was the day that completely changed the course of my life, because seeing all of you in concert is what made me want to go into music as my own career.
Wow.
And so without
Amazing.
Sharon, Lois, and Bram on my car radio and on my television, who knows if I would have done that. And I think there are so many fans who credit Sharon, Lois, and Bram with the decision to go into music or culinary fields, teaching instruments and arranging and all of the things that we've all done. So thank
And
you.
we didn't plan it.
No. Every performance needs an audience.
Yeah.
Music can be a part of your life, whether you're on the stage or receiving it, and that they're equally important.
I totally agree.
Skinnamarink-y dinky dink, skinnamarink-y doo. I love you. Skinnamarink-y dinky dink, skinnamarink-y doo. I love you. Put up the sun. I love you in the morning and in the afternoon. I love you in the evening underneath the moon. Skinnamarink-y dinky dink, skinnamarink-y doo. I love you too. Boop boopy doo. Mwah. Yay! Had a beautiful try out at the end. Oh, boy. that's fun.
Loved
That was a lovely idea.